Hello there and welcome back to another review. So here we go again for another Venom mob movie, made back in 1978, directed by Cheng, reviewing this from this, I keep saying it, but the luxurious box set from Arrow Films. Just amazing, like, not a huge collection of Shaw Brothers, but there's some quintessential Shaw Brothers on here. Crippled Avengers, no exception. So made back in 1978, directed by Chien. Now I'm actually going to be really controversial here. This, and I will have to say that I prefer this movie over Five Venoms. I've said it. I think Crippled Avengers is a better. I've always preferred this movie. I love Five Venoms very, very, very much, as many people do. But Crippled Avengers, to me, for some reason, Crippled is just a teeny tiny, weeny bit better. So maybe I'll be ridiculed for saying that. I don't know, but I just want to get that right out of the way. That I think this film is slightly superior. So we have the Venom mob here, who many of you will know: Philip Kwok, Sun Chen, Lu Feng, Meng, and Sheng, and the ever dependable Kuan-tai as our villain, who I believe this was his first film for Shaw Brothers after he took I think he took a break for a year or so. Kuan-tai, you'll probably most noticeably remember for like the lead from Boxer from Shang, but I think he took a year-long break at this point. So for the Venom mob on the same side, and it's Lu Feng is on the bad guy side. Usually the Venom mob, they're sort of put in sometimes groups, or one of them's working on their own or whatever, but basically here they're sort of all together. Apart from Lu Feng, who's sort of on the villain side, all the Venom, like most of the Venom mob, there's no Wei Pei in this movie, but the majority of the Venom mob, they're all on the same team here. They're all and that's what I love about this movie as well, is they're all sort of working together. So no Wei Pei here, as I mentioned. As you expect from the title of the movie, our heroes are like disabled in some way, or a notion that runs through the movie is basically, regardless of your disabilities and your handicap, if you practice enough, that you can overcome any obstacle, I think is the theme that sort of runs through this movie. And I think that's a wonderful message that this film has. I mean, obviously it's exaggerating this movie, but the idea of, if you have something that is holding you back, or if sometimes you can overcome obstacles, and it's not always as dark and as bleak as what you think it is. And I think that's why, like Crippled Avengers, it has quite a nice notion to it, this film. There's quite a nice message going through the narrative as it happens. Look at, say, like a film, The One-Armed Boxer with Jimmy Wang Yu. It's that same kind of thing, but sort of just expanded on just a little bit more. This film is yet another awesome showcase for the Venom mob, and unlike Venom mobs, they really do all get to flex. Like a lot of the films, they're sometimes sort of restrained. Even Five Venoms, there's not an awful lot of kung fu fighting in Five Venoms, like I've said before, but in Crippled Avengers, they really all do get to show off. Really, they get to flex their acrobatic and fighting skills a lot more in this movie, and that's another reason why I prefer Crippled Avengers. I think the film is very unique and different just in the subject matter and how it tackles it. And we have Kuan-tai and Lu Feng here playing a sadistic father and son antagonist team, with our heroes who have been crippled in some way, having to overcome their disadvantages and take them down. And the whole film, it really is one hell of a ride, this movie. It really... I think the film is a favourite of mine. It's definitely a favourite of mine from this box set. It's definitely, I think, a film that... it's very much, it's almost like sometimes forgotten about, because everybody just thinks of Five Deadly Venoms, right? Everybody thinks of Five Venoms, but this film, I think it's a fantastic, wonderful effort from the Venom mob. So the film opens with these people storming Kuan-tai's place and want to kill him. If I recall, I think one of them is Dick Wei. I'm pretty sure it is Dick Wei, as one of the guys who you remember from many films like Project A and loads of Samos and Jackies. And the film doesn't apologise for being what it is, and that sense of payback and revenge. And it's more so never in this movie, rather than just being like beating people up and being the better fighter. Here, people, you can get, as you can probably guess from the title, get paralysed. There is a lot more, the idea of payback and revenge is a lot more urgent. It's a lot more put at the front. It's not just you beat me, I've got to get revenge. People are paralysed. People are crippled in this movie, hence the title. So they cut off his wife's legs and his son's arm, basically. So at this point in the movie, this is very, you're sort of on it. You're sort of on Chen Kuan-tai's side at the beginning, because you sort of sympathise with him. He's the one that's just lost something. They've done stuff to his wife and his son, and you're sort of on his side. Something barbaric and sadistic has just happened to his family. So you do sort of empathise with him in the initial stages of the movie. You sort of like sympathise with him. So he gets his son iron hands, so and as he gets older, and he can like shoot darts too. So he almost becomes sort of like a kung fu cyborg. So the film does venture into sort of silly, gimmicky territory, but it all adds up to what makes the film so cool and so great. It like played by Feng here. So Chen gets the people son who chops his arm off, like the people that chops his sons off. He sort of finds their sons. Chops his arm, and he wants his son to cripple them. Philip Kwok here, the amazing talent he is as our lead, as was usually the case with Kwok in the Venom movies. If you look at Five Deadly Venoms, he's the lead there. The Kwok was usually he was always sort of the hero or the leader, or both, if you will. So we have Meng playing like a blacksmith who is sick and tired of Chen's hold and power over the village. Philip Kwok, after an altercation, gets blinded by his son. Nice drums and build up here with the tenseness of the scene. Meng gets invited for a drink and takes his hammer with him, as you do, when you're a blacksmith. You just take your hammer everywhere. If you've been invited for a drink by the evil guy in town, make sure if you're a blacksmith to take that hammer with you, right? Because you never know it's going to come in handy. So they're sort of, this guy... he sort of like the whole thing is they get a thing for like crippling people, right? This is what they do. They get it in their head. This is how they deal with people they don't like. The whole idea is Chen Kuan-tai and Feng. They just cripple people. If they don't like them, they walk into them like whatever. They will paralyze them in some way. So he gets like Philip Kwok Philip Kwok gets blinded after just like a small altercation as well. It just is so small, but the guy just blinds him anyway. So blacksmith has gone, Meng's character, and I love his character here. He's all cocky and mouthing. Meng, if you don't know who he is, he's sort of the big burly one. He's sort of the muscly guy from the Venoms, and I love that about him. Chen Kuan-tai makes him drink this drug, which actually makes him a mute, and then they puncture his ears too, so he's deaf. And I love that Chang-Chi decides to make the film silent here too. I mean, it's a wonderful filming technique from Chang-Chi. When he does sort of like... they puncture his ears. They make the film go silent too for a while, as we as a viewer get to see what it is like from Meng's point of view, and I thought that was a really nice touch, rather than just he's had his ears punched as he can't hear anymore. Here they do actually, as an audience, as a viewer, you do get to experience it sort of from Meng's point of view for a while, and I think it's one of them movies that you get the impression they really did put a lot of effort or thought into with each one of these members that are paralyzed or crippled in some way. How can we sort of really sympathize? How can we make it so it isn't just they've been hurt in this way? Like, how can we get the audience on board with them a lot more? And what really works is that you actually, like I said, you actually really do feel for these people. It's like, it's not a simple you offended my master, you must pay, or anything like that. You really do feel for them. Like the standard traits you get in many kung fu movies are sort of out there. There's a lot more intensity and a lot more urgency with this film. Here we have people that had something taken away, and obviously it's life changing. So our care and interest in these characters is even more. They had all their senses and everything like that, and then it gets taken away. So you do feel sympathy for them. You are on their side. You do feel like something has been taken away. Made disabled, crippled, and losing one of your senses is universal. And that's something I think we can at least all have some sympathy for and care for. So in many ways, the film does resonate, I think, a lot more. So proving what tyrants Feng and Chen Kuan-tai are, we have son Chien, who just accidentally, he bumps into Feng, and because of this, he ends up getting his feet chopped off. Like, he just bumps into Feng. That's all he does. He just accidentally walks into him and he gets his feet chopped off. I mean, seems a bit harsh, but, they have to make sure the villains are as nasty as possible. Like at the film is so unapologetic, and because of that, I think that's what makes me love it even more. So Kwok, Sun, Chen, and Meng all sort of form an alliance that they all been crippled by the same people. They all become they're all sort of band together, and that's what I love about this film as well. You really do get a sense that they're a team. They've lost something, they want to get payback, and it's wonderful. It really does hold your attention, this movie. It really does work, and I say we get it all in this film. We get it all. We get violence, we get training. It's just wonderful performances from the Venom mob, as you would expect. I say, so they all sort of forming a line. So at this point you probably have an idea what was going to happen. So they're all together, and Sheng turns up as like an upright fighter, and is like, right, I will go and avenge you all, right? So at this point, you think, well, hang on, they've all just been crippled or, you know, paralyzed in some way, and Cheng, you're like, yeah, that's a good idea, but with what happened so far, probably something's going to happen to you as well. And believe me, you and me, it does. So he has a great fight with like his with Wang Lun-wei. Yes, him yet again. He just keeps on cropping up. Wang Lun-wei, or Johnny Wang as he's sometimes known. He's usually the villain in probably a whole plethora of Shaw Brothers movies. Too many to mention, but we have Wang Lun-wei here. Here's a nice fight here where it's like a sword and his chain metal ball thing that he's using. Lu Feng joins him in. We have some amazing flips and spins here. Again, this is why I think I prefer this movie over 5 Venoms. They actually do get to show off more. Sheng in particular gets to show off and his skills and his agility a lot more. A lot like Xiao Ho from the Liu Ka Lung movies, who I always like in Sheng too. They just have that amazing acrobatic qualities about them. So Cheng ends up getting his head crushed, which sort of course impacts his brain. I mean, this guy and his methods, I mean, Kuan-tai, they're just barbaric with what he is doing to people. As I say, you as a viewer wanting to pay for what he was doing, and Chen and Lu Feng are absolutely perfect as our antagonists here. The whole thing makes Cheng sort of dumb and not all there, so our crew and go and find his master in order that he will help them train and be able to sort of overcome their disabilities and just come to terms with it in a way. Could they still train with what's happened to them? You have this like emotional scene of them all traveling on this car as well. It's one of the films that it could actually be remade now, because I think it would be a wonderful, I know they updated like Boxer from Shangtung with Hero, with Yuen Bu and that, but this film as well, Barefoot Kid was another one, but I think with this film it really does, where they're traveling on that cart, you really do feel for these guys. Like, they didn't ask for this, and in many ways they're all sort of outcasts that have been brought together under these horrible circumstances. So the teacher agrees to chain them. Kwok, being blind, is taught how to develop his hearing, also draw on Lo Mang's palm to sort of communicate. Watch for Philip Kwok doing some amazing flips with some metal rings. I love how Chang is like, he can't be blind, he must be faking, because Chang at this point, he becomes sort of like I say, his brain's been impacted, so he comes to a bit simple, but he's sort of the playful one. And Chang, although he's not lost his ability to fight the whole time. Sun Chen can now kick with his fake legs that he's had installed, and I love when Chang is throwing small sticks at him and Sun is kicking Sun Chen is amazing kicker, and he's like kicking every single one of them. So at this point we do like a time skip in 3 years. The film jumps forward, I think, about 3 years, and they sort of, the whole idea, we're trained up now, we're ready to return, we're ready to get vengeance, we're ready to get some payback, all with heightened senses and better skills, better fighters. Kwok gets informed of Wang Lun-wei's location. He's pretending to be like a fortune teller when he arrives back in town. They get someone with a light technique who can walk on candles to take out Philip Kwok. They all go to the inn, and the plan is to sort of ambush him, like team-handed, basically. The whole idea is to just, because they just want to get him out the way. Lo Meng and Kwok managed to win the fight. So Chen Kuan-tai's birthday is coming up, and our Avengers are planning to use that Chen Kuan-tai's birthday as the prime time that's when they strike, that's when they get their payback, that's when they get back at this guy that done these horrible things to them, and that's when they plan to get revenge. Kwok again shows off so much in this movie. I mean, Philip Kwok, wonderful performance. I mean, it's him and Chang in particular from the Venom mob. When these two are together, whether they're practicing, training, they really are both so agile, and when they work together, they really do. They're just great to watch on camera. They really are. Chang and Philip Kwok are just wonderful. I mean, I could watch these guys all day, training, fighting, whatever both, whatever. just shows off doing some prime amazing mini staff pole work when him and Lo Meng are taking on the bad guys. You have a guy here who also has like a mini catapult crossbow thing going on. So one of the villains, Chen Kuan-tai, was hired by Mr. Chu, comes in and gives them the whole "you have 3 blows to defeat me" kind of shtick. And it's quite funny, this thing, because Lo Meng can't take him out. Lo Meng is like, he doesn't do well, and neither can Philip Kwok. And worth noting as well, at this point in the movie, we haven't seen our villains Chen Kuan-tai and Lu Feng for a good while. The villain has sort of passed on his henchmen and lackeys, as it were. So the film goes through a very macabre, dark in its subject matter, and also has an almost comic book cartoon vibe running through it, I will say. There's no more evident when Chen wants his, going back to what I was just saying, when Chen, the guy who wants 3 blows, and Chen goes to take his 3 blows. He says, well, I want my go. So he has iron feet, and the guy's like, yeah, sure, you have iron feet, thinking he's being like, using that as like an analogy for his technique, and he ends up kicking through the guy's chest and not realizing that he actually does have iron feet, which it becomes sort of most like Story of Ricky with some of the violence here. There are elements like that where it is so over the top, but wonderful scene. And I love how Chen is like their ace in the hole, like their trump card with his iron feet. And I love how Kwok is like, we won't you wait for them to attack us. It doesn't want to wait. It's like, we'll go and get them. We'll go and get them. So they use light drums to deal with Meng and Kwok, but Sheng just knocks them down. I can't stress enough how much the fights in this movie are just so exceptional. They're more flamboyant, more extravagant, and just them all showing off, basically. It's just the Venom mob doing their thing, just 100% doing their thing in this movie, in Crippled Avengers. And it's what you want to see. Lo Meng kills Wang Longwei's character after a great fight. Absolutely love Kwok and Chien taking on Lu Feng. The whole time Chang is still thinking he's still game and not fully understanding the danger and severity of the situation. Take note on the height that Kwok gets on some of these flips at the end of the movie. I mean, he is getting some serious air on some of these flips that he is doing. I can't stress enough, the ending to this movie is just wonderful. It really is. It borders on artistic. It really does. The way it's done, so much grace and style. It's almost like the crew of performers are just saying to the audience, look what we can do. This is like the Venom mob showing off 100% completely. And the ending of this movie is a prime example as to why people were and are such fans of the Venom movies. And it's quite upsetting too at one stage when Sheng gets shot by Lu Feng's darts, but because of his mental state, he doesn't understand or realise that he has been hurt, that he is actually injured. And that's what, with Sheng's character in this, where he becomes simple. He thinks everything is just a game. Like what they're going to, when they go and get vengeance at the end, he thinks they're just playing still. Like even when they're training, to him it's just fighting. Whether it's training, dealing with the bad guys, actually the end fight, to him it's just playful. So when he does get injured and severely injured, he doesn't really appreciate or understand what is going on. He doesn't actually realize. So it's actually quite upsetting, that bit. He doesn't understand and realize he's hurt, and sadly he does die, which does, I think, having one of them die does add weight to the film. And even in that final fight, they as a crew still suffer a loss as well. It's not like they come out of this totally unscathed. There are, like I say, that Chang does die, and there was a loss there. They got paralyzed in this way. Then they lost one of their buddies. The whole ending turns into like a 3 versus 1, and just fantastic, amazing stuff here, and wonderfully shot by Chang. And I love it when they trap him and kill him. Kwok is like, they trap him and they're all, like I say, they're all beating him up, and he's like, did we get him? And I just love that. It's like, hell yeah, you got him at the end of the movie, and you really get a sense justice is served at the end of this movie. And Chen Kuan-tai as the villain, Lu Feng do an amazing job, as I mentioned. A fantastic movie, a must-watch, must-see, and it's just everything is in there. Venom mob, acrobatics, great performances, great villains, great story. And to me, it's just a must-see. And like I say, maybe very, controversial, but to me, Crippled Avengers is just slightly one of my favourites, and just a little bit better of a movie, in my opinion, than 5 Venoms is. But thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'll see you soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.